Welcome to the Flight Levels. Hopefully you've been enjoying the content I've shared so far. But you may be wondering, who is this guy Joe? And why does he think he knows anything? Today, we're going to explore where I came from and what the heck I'm doing here. Let's get to it. I started my aviation journey as an undergraduate at Florida Institute of Technology, where I majored in aeronautical science. At 18, I knew I wanted to be an airline pilot. It seemed like a pretty sweet combination of getting a college degree while studying something as awesome as flying airplanes. It felt like a win-win, and it was. I had a blast the whole time I was at Florida Tech. By graduation, I'd earned my commercial single-engine, commercial multi-engine, instrument rating, CFI, and CFII certificates. One of the major events college aviation students partake in is a summer internship at an airline. The summer after my junior year, I packed up my car and drove out to Indianapolis. It was a pretty awesome gig. The internship was unpaid, but in return, I got to fly jump seat as much as I wanted on the airline. For those who don't know what that means, flying jump seat is sitting in the cockpit with the pilots during regular passenger carrying flights. Also, after graduating, I would be given lower hourly minimums to apply to a pilot job at this airline. For a 21-year-old aspiring pilot, this was an amazing opportunity. What I didn't realize yet was this summer would be a turning point in my life. I had arranged some affordable housing living at a crash pad with some existing airline pilots and a mechanic. I got to see their lifestyles firsthand. While these gentlemen were very happy with their jobs and their lives, it got me wondering if this was the lifestyle that I wanted. Flying in the jump seat with the airline was also very revealing to me. One of the conditions of my jump seat privileges was there needed to be a seat open in the back of the plane in the event there was some emergency requiring the pilots to kick me out of the cockpit. With that restriction, there were several times I got stuck at various airports because I couldn't get on a flight. I had always thought flying for free on standby was such a great perk. And it is. It just comes with conditions. 99% of the pilots I rode with were very welcoming to me. I enjoyed chatting with them about how cool it was to work as an airline pilot. But there was one captain who got my attention. We were flying to New York, and the whole flight he was talking about how he was going out that night to get drunk and pick up chicks. I understand this one guy is not a fair representation of all pilots, but he stood out and made a big impression on me. I wanted to worry about going to my kid's soccer game in my 40s, not thinking about picking up chicks. I started my senior year of college feeling a bit lost. I had spent the last few years and a bunch of money toward a career in the airlines. I started exploring what else I could do besides airline flying. I found out a classmate of mine who had graduated the prior year was working as a dispatcher for a company that flies private jets. The company was seeking applicants with aviation experience to work in their office in Greenwich, Connecticut. I also found out there were several other Florida Tech graduates working there too. I decided to skip class for a day and booked an airline ticket up to Greenwich for an interview, and it went very well. It felt amazing to have a company want me. While airlines have dispatchers who are certified, this company operated slightly differently. The passengers on the jets were technically owners. All clients had bought a fraction of a jet, which changed them from passengers to owners. The company simply managed all of the jets and arranged the flight crews to be in position for each flight. As such, the company operated under FAR 91 Subpart K and did not technically require licensed dispatchers. A few months later, I graduated, packed up my car, and drove to Connecticut. For my first job after college, I was pretty happy. The pay was enough to get by, and I loved working with other aviation professionals. My job was calling the company pilots and informing them of their schedule throughout the day. Occasionally, a flight could not be completed as scheduled due to weather or maintenance, so I would have to coordinate with our scheduling team as to how to get another plane and crew to transport the client. As I got to know my coworkers, I found out several of them had studied air traffic control as part of their undergraduate degrees. They were in a pipeline to be hired as air traffic controllers. They were just passing the time waiting for their name to be called up to start training. They got me thinking about if that might be a good career path. I found out one of the ways to be hired was graduating from one of a few designated colleges. At the time, Florida Tech was not one of those schools where graduates could be hired. Conveniently, there was a school about an hour away in Queens that was part of this program. Luckily, most of my college credits transferred over, so I was able to meet all of the graduation requirements by enrolling for 2 semesters. It was a bit frustrating already having an aviation undergraduate degree, but looking back, it was a small price to pay to be able to get in line to be a controller. Once I graduated, I found myself in the same place as my coworkers, just waiting around for the call to start training. I'm not sure how the process works today, but at the time, there were no guarantees about how long or short the time would be before you were called up. All they said was, whenever they offer you a start date, you need to take it. If you passed on the offer, you went to the back of the line. Having been in Connecticut for about a year and a half, I decided I had had enough. I decided to change gears and become a ski instructor in Breckenridge, Colorado, while I waited for the call to start training. That was one of the best decisions I made in my 20s. Working as a ski instructor only paid $11 an hour. Man, was it fun. I supplemented my income by working at a restaurant downtown as a waiter. At the time, I went by the name Joey. Unfortunately, there was already a Joey on staff. My boss asked if I ever went by another name. I thought about it for a moment. I told him my middle name is Robert, so how about I go by Joe Bob? For the next few months, I was Joe Bob. My favorite description of that winter was that it was like being in college, but not having to go to class. Luckily, my timing worked out pretty well. I was assigned an ATC class date of June 2008. I packed up my car again and drove out to Oklahoma City for air traffic controller training. After 3 months of initial training, I moved again to my assigned location of Denver. It took me about 3 years to get all the way to certified professional controller status. Everyone has a unique experience. Some people take less time, some take longer. One of my weaknesses during my time as a trainee was my attitude that I already knew something with all my experience as a pilot. Looking back, I wish I had been more humble. I also should have just gone in with the mindset of knowing nothing and learning from the ground up. After becoming a full performance level controller, I continued working for about 6 months until I decided the work schedule was not for me. The worst part for me was the ability to take vacation time when I wanted. We could have a whole episode just on how controller schedules work, but long story short, I loved working as a controller. I just didn't like the lack of flexibility for my personal life. I discovered my current role in automation. For the past 10 years, I've had the pleasure of what I feel is one of the best kept secrets in aviation. Today, I get to help controllers use their computer systems. They come to me with problems or ideas of how they can work better. I come up with solutions to those problems. I also get to work regular office hours. I get paid reasonably well. I also get to take vacation almost whenever I want to. For me, this is my dream job. In the meantime, back in 2014, I decided to get back into flight instructing by joining a flying club. Little did I know how much demand there was for flight instructors. I had to start turning down work almost right away. Still working 40 hours a week, I only had so much extra time for flight instructing. Some of my first students with that club are still very close friends, and I'm so grateful to have joined the club and met those guys. After instructing with flying clubs for a few years, I decided to buy my own airplane in 2017. I bought a 1974 Piper Warrior. A common question I get is, why did I choose a Piper over a Cessna? The honest answer is that I was just looking for any plane that would fit my mission of being a certified aircraft I could instruct in and have reasonable costs of ownership. Had a Cessna 172 come up for sale in similar condition at a similar price, I would have bought one. I have to admit, I really liked being an airplane owner. I really liked being in charge of what maintenance was done and when it was done. I also really enjoyed choosing what avionics upgrades to make. I taught students for their private, instrument, and commercial certificates in that plane. During my ownership, I went through some major events such as the ADS-B mandate, I had the vacuum system removed, I had the engine overhauled, and I had the airplane painted. As much as I loved that airplane, it came time to sell it last year. I had the pleasure of selling it to a great new owner who will continue to take great care of it. So where am I now? I love my most important job of being a husband and a father. Today, I still work 40 hours a week helping controllers. I also still do flight instruction here and there. I offer online tutoring sessions through my website, flight-levels.com. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to send me a message on the Contact Me page. I can help you prepare for your check ride. I can also offer advice on topics ranging from careers in aviation to aircraft ownership. Other than that, you'll find me here on YouTube every week with new content you won't find anywhere else. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you learned anything. Share this with any of your friends who may also want to learn techniques to be a better pilot in the National Airspace System. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and head over to flight-levels.com. Remember, don't just fly, climb to the flight levels.